Let's start with some background. There's this guy in our group that has been both DM and PC. We all DM our own campaigns and play in each other's games. Let's call this guy Bryce. Bryce is problematic, and he always plays evil characters that scheme against the rest of the party. All of his PCs have been either lawful evil or neutral evil. Nothing wrong with that, usually, except Bryce likes to be a dick to the people in the party a lot of the time, tries to steal the spotlight for his own PC, etc. Fast forward to our current game. All the PCs are good or neutral characters that get along great, and we have a fun time. Bryce decided to join, which we were all nervous about, but he joined as a lawful good paladin, so yay! No more dicking over the rest of the party. Bryce is usually selfish in game and in real life, so we were just glad we finally decided to leave that type of PC, but no, in the very first session, he decided to start causing problems, leaving aside all the side comments about other players and their PCs constantly, disparaging them, criticizing their choices, etc. Bryce just started acting super out of character and hostile towards other members of the party. Firstly, one of the PCs, let's call him Jack, is on watch but rolls low on a perception check, and the group is attacked. Afterward, Bryce tells Jack that he didn't do his job and tries to intimidate him into collecting some loot for him from the dead bandits. I step in and use the help action to aid Jack against Bryce because I've been with Jack a lot longer than Bryce and I was not about to let him bully beyond another party member. Jack still fails and then Bryce tries to intimidate my player as well, considering my PC was a Goliath and like 2 feet taller than this puny paladin and had a 20 SDR. I outright refuse to be intimidated by my own party. The DM, who is also getting pretty annoyed at this point, says that we don't have to be intimidated by other PCs if we do not want to. Later that same game, this Archmage we defeated has Jack's lost legendary weapon on him, and the party is celebrating that we found it for him. Well, everyone but Bryce, who decides to take Jack's weapon from the Archmage's corpse. We thought he was going to hand it to Jack, but then he goes, "I never said I was handing it to Jack." The whole table looks at Bryce, dumbfounded that he would try to pocket another PC's legendary weapon. He literally had his own and could not even attune to Jack's weapon. It literally took the arcanic cleric to threaten Bryce with feeble mind, which would blast his brain to 1 INT for a month, to make him give the weapon up. But that's not even the worst part. During a break in that same session, Bryce mentions offhand to me how his PC is lawful good, but he is secretly neutrally evil, and is just pretending to be LG. I mentioned this to DM, who did not know about this at all, and had restricted the alignment to non-evil to avoid this very problem. So Bryce literally lied to the DM so that he could play his character like a complete douchebag the whole time and get away with it. The DM has stated that he intends to confront this and make Bryce actually play in character. There is a fellow I used to play with both as a DM and a fellow player, and generally speaking, it was alright to be around. Did the work, made a fun time, contributed all that, but the longer I played with people who were part of his groups in the long term, the more I realized something. He was a self-appointed officer of the Concept Police. It did not show up all the time, but when this showed up, it showed up hard. Perfect example was the one time I asked to play a Warforged in 3.5 Eberron game. You'd think by his reaction I asked to sleep with his wife. When I asked if he could give me some reasoning, did not want to deal with the repair over healing, Race's early benefits were too strong, etc., he just told me that when he had to play with an 11-year-old at a con who made the most annoying robot possible, pointing out that I was not said 11-year-old, that the fighter he was playing was not remotely like the Ranger concept I was putting forward, and that I've been at his table for years did not budge his opinion. Someone else had ruined the race, and therefore no one could touch it again at his table. While I ended up not participating in that game, he did this as a player as well. A friend of mine wanted to play a Dampier in a horror-themed Pathfinder game, and this guy threw a fit about it. To be clear, he was not the DM in this game, but according to him, another guy he played with had made a Dampier that did not actually help the party and constantly wandered off to do his own thing. He and the player he was complaining at were friends, but it seemed that some unrelated party had permanently colored his vision. He would constantly undercut anyone who played a gnome for similar reasons. Now, I don't play with this guy anymore. Have not for years, but this habit of, "I don't like it, you can't play it," seems to have been ingrained in a lot of the members of his old group that I did, until recently, play with. Well, my former DM just could not wrap her mind around certain races or classes being different than their main major stereotype. Any tiefling had to be horrific, any Dampier had to be a blood-drinking monster, and so on and so forth. High school juniors, we have a group of 5 for our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. We go to one of the players' house for every single session. This time we had to switch it up last minute due to our DM having to help watch nephews while playing. So we grab everyone and head over to the DM's house. We get there and go in, and his mom instantly sighs and says that we will not get anywhere in life playing games. We sit down at the table, and she proceeds to ask us if we have jobs and what we plan to do after high school, even after some of us inform her that we have jobs and plan to go to college. She still insists we are not going to get anywhere in life and that we do not know the difference between fantasy and reality. Also, multiple times between 10 minutes, she says, "I don't want an occult in my house. I watched a forensic episode about a boy killing his family, and he played Dungeons and Dragons." And, "The devil is a dragon!" At one point, she insulted one of our players' parents because he said that his parents played it as kids and they are successful. She also opened her Bible and was going to start reading verses to us until the DM's sister stopped his mother. He then asked his nephews to leave the kitchen because a nephew stole a dice and brought it back. They then both started screaming at all of us, and one of our players walked out, and I quickly followed. Warning: mention of sexual violence. Some number of years ago, when I was a relatively new and naive DM, I was running a game with 3 friends of mine from college. There was Monk, Sorcerer, and Fighter. We all knew each other fairly well and never had any problems, until we suddenly did. The party was traveling from one city where they had just finished some quests to kill stuff and collect objects, and were on the way to the next city to do more of that. I decided in the moment to throw in a small random encounter of no consequence whatsoever. As the party was traveling down the road, they encountered a young, plain, very unarmed woman carrying a basket of flowers. I don't know why I did this. I suppose I just wanted to see how paranoid they were, or how they would react to something completely unimportant. I certainly learned. The woman offered to sell the party some of her flowers for some paltry amount of coin. Totally harmless. Sorcerer says, "Sure, why not? Flowers are dope. Thanks, lady." Monk says, "Yeah, okay, if it helps you get by. We just made some fat stacks. I'll help the local economy." Fighter says, "I knock her out." Me: "You what, bro?" I draw my sword, and I hit her on the back of the head with the pommel. Now, I had always told my players that they could attempt whatever they wanted to, although there was no guarantee of success, and there would almost always be consequences, so in my innocence I allowed it. The woman, being a commoner with no combat experience at all, went down immediately. Sorcerer and Monk just stared, mouths agape, thoroughly baffled. Sorcerer: "Why?" Fighter: "I don't know." Monk: "Dude, what the fuck?" Fighter: "Alright, I tie her to a nearby tree trunk, off the side of the road." Me: "Okay, but can I ask why?" He just shrugs. I was genuinely curious, so were Sorcerer and Monk, so we just let him do it. Sorcerer: "Now what?" Monk: "Can we just go? I feel like we should just go." Me: "You should probably just go at this point." Fighter: I wake her up. Okay, maybe he's going to question her. Maybe he thinks she's a spy or something. Wouldn't put past me to have them encounter some random person and have her turn out to be a spy or something. Fair enough. Benefit of the doubt. Active. Fighter: I shake her awake and hold my sword menacingly. Me: "Okay, she's visibly terrified. She asks you what you want." Monk: I ask what Fighter wants as well. Sorcerer: "Same. Fighter. What is she doing selling flowers around here? That's weird. Who sells flowers? Me. I don't know. Some people do. It's really not important. I'll just tell you straight up. This girl has nothing to do with anything. Fighter accepts this. Monk and Sorcerer are eager to move on. I am as well. Instant regret for even throwing in this encounter. Then it comes. Fighter. I want to roll to have sex with her. Monk. ... Sorcerer. Dude, what the fuck? Me. I'm not prepared for today. Sorcerer. Are you serious? You want to rape this random woman? At this point, Fighter panics. He literally throws his hands into the air as if we had pulled some guns on him. Whoa, whoa, no, that's not what I meant. Monk. Then exactly what the fuck do you mean? Fighter. I said roll to have sex with her, not rape her. Me. What, consensually? Fighter. Yeah. Me. You knocked her out, tied her to a tree, and held your sword to her face. Sorry if the context of the situation implied something else. Awkward 15 seconds of silence. Fighter. So, can I roll for it? Me. You know what? Yeah. Go ahead and roll. He rolls a d20, and before the die even settles, I tell him that no, despite his charms, for whatever reason, she's just not into him. Fighter. Oh, okay, in that case, I untie her and apologize. Me. Roll to apologize. He rolls a d20, and before it settles, I tell him that she does not accept his apology, and in fact thinks he's a dangerous lunatic, and hates him. Fighter shrugs again. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Sorcerer, Monk, and I struggle to comprehend what just happened. They move on and reach the city without further incident. The group stayed together for the rest of the campaign, and Fighter was never problematic again. To this day, not one of us, including him, has any satisfying explanation for what happened.